Hello and welcome back to the second episode of Stationeers. I'm your host Mephisto. Last week we erected our carcass of a greenhouse. We set up some rudimentary power systems over here. As you can see, as some eagle-eyed viewers can see, I added a second basic solar panel to our setup. We got our rudimentary production system set up as well, um, and we'll be hopefully going to a point where we can set up a proper system where we have a growing area right here and increase our power and also our productions. Um, the next step for our production is to get a pipe bender out, and for that we will need to make a pipe bending kit and place it where we can start to run it. Obviously, um, the pipe bender is built in the auto lathe, and as you can see in the tool tip, we have almost all materials except for copper, and so we'll have to start smelting copper in the furnace, obviously. Here in the area power control, we see that the battery, this yellow thing here, is about halfway full. So if we are going to run our equipment, it will be depleted very quickly because these solar panels aren't doing that much just yet, and the wind turbine isn't generating a lot of power either. So to remedy the short-term power issues we have right now, we are going to set up a solid generator kit, which comes with our initial stuff from the drop pod over there. It's nothing new for us. So I already laid out the cabling for it. So just place there, put some fuel in it, and turn it on. This will charge the battery and run all our stuff. As we wait for the materials to smelt, I want to inform you that I have done some little bit of mining the last 2 nights and last day in game, so I don't have to put you through the mining of it. Copper takes a lot more time to smelt in the furnace than iron. Iron is done fairly quickly and efficiently in the regular furnace, but for other material and complicated materials such as solder and other stuff, we'll need a gas furnace or even an advanced gas furnace. I will hopefully be setting that up today as well. Alright, so I went and I printed out the hydraulic pipe bender and we'll be setting it up right now. Also printed out some additional copper coils because I ran out. I think this is a good place to place it for now. And I'm gonna lay out some cables already. All the production equipment have a fairly similar layout. Initially, at least. We'll finish up the hydraulic pipe bender. Right here, plastic. Still weird to me to melt plastic. But that's how the game works. There we go. Set up our hydraulic pipe bender. And let's see. And so we set up our hydraulic pipe bender, and to finish up our hydroponics area, greenhouse, we're going to require an additional active vent and two extra passive vents. That's the word I was looking for. Alright, so I printed out two passive vents and I already placed the active vent. I placed the active vent on this side of the airlock next to the gas sensor with two um, wall frames on both sides of the wall, so I can face the active vent on this side and immediately attach the passive vent without additional pipe work to it on the other side. The passive vent requires to be attached on its side of the wall. So we'll set it up for this side as well. And I reckon I see that I didn't make that one right here. So let me toss this out here. Get a wall side. Place an additional wall right here. And put the passive vent outside. Marvelous. So now we can actually start to sheet up the walls and make them airtight as well. Well, first do the outer walls before the inner door walls. Because we also need to wire up the doors and all the controls. Let's quickly get that going. You have to wire everything up to make sure it's one circuit. So we can so they can all communicate together. Alright, I finished up cabling the Alright, so I finished up cabling the greenhouse entrance airlock. And let me finish up this wall as well. For now, both walls are open. I've ran a cable all the way through to the power system. As you can see here, with a fairly standard power setup, we got the composite doors on both sides. I find them easier to work with than the glass doors, although the glass doors do have a bigger gap. Ultimately, I don't think that's required for your initial greenhouse. Later, when we make a more complicated base, we'll use better doors for passing stuff through, in and out from, and also perhaps make use of the chute system. For now, this will work. I'm not gonna. You also need to fill up the greenhouse with gas, with atmosphere, at a higher concentration than it's here. The pressure right here, as you can see on the bottom right of your screen, the external pressure is 1 kPa, and the ideal pressure would be around 100 to 110 kPa. It might differ from person to person playing the game, but I prefer to have the pressure at around 100 kPa. Then you still have 50 kPa, kilopascals that is, before these windows blow out, because these windows and walls blow out at around 150 kilopascals. So first what we're gonna do is close the door and then set this active vent to suck in all the air that's coming from here and this open door and pass it through the passive vent inside this area, in this enclosed greenhouse area. And afterwards, there we go, hydration is critical. We got some water on us, so it's important that we quickly, that we also focus on setting up our water and food. Well, at least food we got already set up almost. We're almost done with that, but we'll also have to do water, which is a new addition to the game since the last last update. That's the word I was looking for. Alright, so it's now sucking out the air from inside to the outside. I'm going to have from the outside to the inside. If you press on the blue button, we can set it to inward. So now it's sucking in. And that's going to take some time. But we have to make sure we keep an eye on the pressure itself, because we don't want to blow it up. You can see all the lines, squiggly lines through the screen. They indicate the airflow, but they stop at the glass, so that's a good thing. You can do a small inspection on the outside to see if there are any leaks. There aren't. Later on we can introduce more complicated managing systems for the gas and also for electricity, and ultimately also for the liquid. But for now, this rudimentary system is all that we need. Alright, as some of you eagle-eyed viewers have already seen, I've placed here some additional iron frames. This is the place where we'll get our gas collection area, our atmospheric system, from to capture all the gases that we get from smelting various metals into useful ingots. We have to expand this area some more. I want to have 7 separate tanks for all 7 separate gases, except for H2O2, because that's a liquid and that's different. So it's probably 6 gases right now, and we'll go through them once we get there. But for now, I think it's most useful just to set up a simple gas furnace. Let me get the materials from here. Because we can't, and we need a gas furnace because we can't make steel that we need for the advanced solar panels with a normal arc furnace. And I see we're short on iron, so we have to smelt some iron. This shouldn't take too long. Alright, so I've printed out everything we need for a simple gas furnace setup. I've placed the iron frames up a little different than before. This row here was on this side, but I wanted to have the space right here because we need something to place all the items on, particularly the passive event. But before that, let's check out how much air pressure there is in the greenhouse already. As you can see, we're already at 51 kilopascals or more, about 60, and I think this could point to stop raising the pressure right away. It's enough pressure already to start growing. The temperature is a little low. As you can see below the pressure on the right side corner of the screen, bottom corner of the screen, you see a little temperature gauge icon with 8 degrees Celsius on it. The pressure will rise as the temperature rises. We'll also have to make sure that, and sorry for the wind rush over here. Let me first turn off this vent. Also need to make sure that the gas composition is correct. For that we can use our handheld tablet and put in the correct analyzer, and for this we need the Atmo analyzer. There we go. Turn it on and you can see again the pressure, which is at about 50 kph, temperature 9.2. CO2, which is what we're looking for, is at 95%. A little bit of O2, some X, and a little bit of N2. I'm not too worried about O2, the N2, and the X at this amount because these are not going to interfere with our plants. They are going to need sunlight, and the sun is setting, as you can see. So we'll set up our hydroponics tomorrow, or maybe the next episode. But first, I want to make sure I got my power setup ready. For that, we're going to need steel, and for steel, we'll have to smelt in a gas furnace. So let's get going on the gas furnace. Alright, I quickly welded up some of the frames. Now it's time to place the gas furnace. I have a particular orientation that I prefer. I prefer to have the lever below and the indicator above, and then that products go from left to right. We also end up with two pipes over here, which are the input and the output. But for that later on. No, I don't need this one. I need a wrench. And now I need welding torch. There we go. That's the furnace itself. As you can see, there's a gauge here, activation button right here, and a lever to release all the contents. For those who are more experienced in this game, you notice that there's an output flange over here and an input flange. We'll only be using the output flange right now, but there's also a third new one, and that's output 2. And I'm assuming because it's blue, and it's new. It's related to the the introduction of liquids in this game with the latest update. And we'll look in that later. But for now, because we still have some water left, let's first set up uh, the gas system of the furnace system with so we can make steel. For that, we are also going to need some pipe work, because as a gas furnace gets really hot, it will also need to be able to relieve itself from its gas. Um, Otherwise it will blow up. We don't want that, do we? Um, I think this is a good place for the passive vent. It's not directly in the way. Let me put this here right real quick. And place this one. And I don't think this one is restricted. Alright, let me put these away for now. We don't need them anymore. And we'll need to attach the valve. Oh, actually we need the pipe more. But okay. So that's the valve to stop the gases from venting away immediately. But we'll see that when we're in operation. There we go. Well, it's a good thing also that we're at night right now and that the temperature is below freezing, because in order to operate this one, the furnace, we need to introduce some gases in them in the form of volatiles, these pink ores, and oxide or oxygen in the form of these bluish ores. The ideal maximum combustion for heating up the furnace to a point where we can smelt the iron and the coal to make steel is 2 to 1, with 2 volatiles for 1 oxide. There we go. Press activate, and there the temperature shot up, the pressure shot up, and now we can at least put in the iron for now, so we can melt it. Here we can see how quickly this is going. We put in 250 iron, and we already have about 100 iron ores or ingots. We'll just put it through the system. Temperature is already too low for iron ingots, but that's fine. We'll release it later. Just have to introduce it first. Here we have some coal. In order to make steel, we'll need to have 3 to 1 iron to coal. So for every 3 ingots of 3 ores of iron, you need 1 coal, which will produce 4 steel. Here it's called hydrocarbon. And as you can see in the content pop-up menu, it only says 250G iron and 150G hydrocarbon, but no steel ingots. That's because the temperature might be too high, and the temperature is probably too low and the pressure too high. In order to reduce the pressure, we can use this valve that we installed and vent this whole system. And then we'll put in some new additional oxide and volatiles to raise the temperature again. You can check what the requirements are for each particular metal that you're trying to produce in the Stationpedia, and I'll show you that after making the steel. Pressure is quite low and the temperature is about 470 Kelvin, so we can shut off the valve again. Put in some volatiles. And the reason why I vented first is because I found out that it's not working otherwise. Okay, apparently that trick didn't work. And my suit is going crazy. Alright, so maybe we will need Stationpedia. Let me get back on there. But let's just chance it. Still doesn't work. Release the pressure. Alright, alright. I'm stumped right now. Let me get some water first. Water and food. And then we'll see what we need. Right, if you press F1, you go to the Stationpedia. And you can click on ingots to get what you need. You got super alloys. These ones you'll need to have the advanced furnace. And then normal alloys, which is also including steel, where we can just use the regular furnace, or the regular gas furnace. And we got some additional basic coppers that we can use the arc furnace to smelt. But it's very inefficient for anything but iron. Let's see, what do we need for steel? Steel ingots are a metal alloy crafted in the furnace by smelting iron ore and coal ore at a ratio of 3 to 1, as I said before. It may not be elegant, but oxide and ice volatiles might be combined in a ratio of 1 to 2 in a furnace to create the necessary gas mixture for smelting. Um, how to manufacture? Well, the temperature between 900 and 100 kilokelvins, pressure of 1 megapascal to 100 megapascal. Well, sun is coming up, so I don't think we can put in the necessary stuff to the volatiles and the oxides in order to raise the temperature and pressure again. Because the oxides and the volatiles melt when they're in your hand. Not in the belt, but in your hand. They won't melt in the belt. They will melt in your hand. So I think we need to wait until it's nighttime again. But we'll cut back when it's nighttime again. So see you in a bit. Alright, and we're back. I've been looking around and I figured out what the problem was. The correct ratio for making steel in ores is 3 to 1 iron to coal. As you can see here in the contents menu, pop-up menu, we have 250 grams iron and 150 grams hydrocarbon. That's not 3 to 1. Actually, I mined a little too less as well again, so I have to go back and mine some more. I'm such a dope.